everybody. Welcome to dotnet Conf Student Zone. My name is Maddy Montaquila. I am the PM for Aspire. And I am so excited to be here with my good friend, my new internet friend, Andres, who has been a big part of the Aspire Discord, aka.ms/Aspire-Discord, if you want to join in. And Andres is not only a student here to tell you about Aspire, but also a full-time .NET developer doing double duty, which is very cool. So Andres, I'm gonna butcher your last name. Andres Rodriguez Cancel? Which
No,
is
you
not
said
how
it
you
right.
say it. For real.
Yeah,
It's fine, I'll work him up.
So
Why introduce yourself for oh, you're on this side. For the map.
yeah. So like Maddie said, I am Andres Rodriguez. I am currently a software developer in the Department of Health. So we deal with all the vaccines, everything that has to do with the country and health. I am also a full-time student, currently at my 4th year, I believe, trying to finish my bachelor's degree. And I am just here to talk about my new project, which is a project that's done with Aspire and Blazor, and hopefully you guys like it.
I love it. So I'm super excited. But first we want to do a quick intro to what is Aspire. And so
Right.
basically, as many of you know, and Andres being in the industry is fully aware of this, like apps are hard. There's a lot going on. And you know, you have your front end. Most of us start with the front end, I would say. And then you have your back end. And then your back end, you're like, what's a microservice? Or like, should this be a container? What's a container? And I know, Andres, you work with not only the public facing app, but the internal or like the app that the actual health providers use, right? So you have two different front ends and like all the data in there. And
Yeah, we currently have like a front end, which is the front-facing front end of all the data in our country, which basically just shows the users like how many people are vaccinated currently in the country, how many people have been infected with this certain disease, how many people have died, among other things. And then we have like the epidemiology system that basically it's a very cool system where if a new person comes in and they are, let's say, infected with COVID, automatically when we get that message that, hey, this person is infected with COVID, basically the system sends an event, and that event creates investigations, creates a lot of different things, and it's like a whole orchestration of services that do different things just because someone got infected. So for example, we send a request to the epidemiology system, and they make investigations and check who that person had contacts with, who that person talked to, who else got infected, and like it basically creates a whole chart of how many people that person has contacted. But that's just one part of the system. Another system gets that event, and they need to figure out other things. Like we send events to the vaccination department, and they try to make maybe more awareness in the area that that person got like infected, or they communicate with the people that that person got infected with, and it's just a whole orchestration. And at the end of the day, everything is just entangled and orchestrated with Aspire, which we love that.
so would you say that this giant puzzle kind of fits your day-to-day life? Like you front ends, back ends, services. I mean, I don't know how much AI stuff you're doing, but
Currently, we're not doing that much AI. And like,
yeah.
I think we have an MCP, but that's it.
Okay. All right. That's AI. I'll take it.
Yeah,
Um,
but it's like in a corner of our system. It's just there sitting.
all my friends have MCPs now. Every cool kid has an MCP. So what?
Yeah, SCP is for the cool people now.
Yeah. So this is kind of, I mean, this as you were talking, I like should have clicked through these, but the animations were not in order, so it wouldn't have actually made sense. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's fair.
after a lot, right? Like there's a lot, and you have both the dev loop. So as we sit and write code every day, but there's also the deployment part of it, and so when you roll out the changes, like you can't take down the whole system. You have to make sure you can do that incrementally. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. And so traditionally, this is really hard. And the way that I like to relate this to students is I'm sure, I don't know if this is true. Maybe you can correct me because I'm like 10, almost 10 years out of college now. So I'm like old and ancient. Um, the class projects, it's like you build the front end or like you build an API, but you never really have to deploy it. And then you do a cloud class and you have to deploy something. And all of a sudden, it's like a totally different world.
Yeah,
Like,
you're right. Y-
yeah,
Yeah. Most of the time, we don't deal with deployment in college. It's like maybe you do deploy your front end and that's it. Like in a front end, how do you call this course? You maybe deploy a static web app, but I don't think I've ever deployed in college a full on fledged like backend database and front end. At least
yeah,
not now. I am still in my 4th year. I think I have like one more year left, but so far it hasn't been the case.
yeah. I I don't. I mean, when I was in college, we were still. It was like, this is what a reverse proxy is in theory, and then that was about as far as we got. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So what we're talking about today is Aspire, which is this code first, extensible, and observable tool for both dev and deployment. And so it really helps bridge that gap between I have one front end to I have a whole app running and I need to be able to do it locally and test everything and make sure everything works. But I also need to be able to bring it into the cloud and deploy it and show it in the real world. It also really helps with onboarding. So something we talk about a lot is like, as I'm sure you know, you have to start at a new project or go to a new team or onboard somebody new to your team. It
Yeah.
excuse me. And they, clone your repo and it takes them like 3 days to get it running. Aspire can help streamline all of that. Um, and with the project that you've been building that you're going to show us, I mean, like the cool thing about it is people can literally just go and run it without having any of the craziness. So just quickly, like the core pieces of Aspire, we have the app host, which is if you've ever used Docker Compose, it's Docker Compose plus plus. So it's typed. It's actually code. You can use IntelliSense, right? Copilot can write some of it for you. And it's debuggable. And we have a CLI you can run everything with. Andres is going to show everything in Visual Studio today, I think, but we also have VS Code, which works amazingly well. The CLI works the same everywhere. So it's whatever you want to use. There's integrations, which are packages that plug in code and services. So they help you turn things on and connect them, like making a bootstrapped like database with Postgres or something, whatever you want to use for your database. And it works for like literally anything you can run on your machine. And then the dashboard, which is probably like the cool part of Aspire, is you see the actual dashboard lit up with all your services and everything running. And it shows you your open telemetry, which we turn on for you in .NET by default. And then you can deploy it and have a very familiar environment in the cloud. So that's kind of the Aspire TLDR, but the best way to talk about Aspire is to get into code. So I think we'll switch over. We'll share your screen
Yep. Sounds
and you
good.
can show us the app you're building. So this, just
Yeah.
to clarify for everybody, so this is like a side project you're working on, right?
Yes. Full on
Okay.
side project.
Amazing.
And yeah, I also have a lot of NuGet packages that I am using in the side project. So it's maintaining the side project and also maintaining those NuGet packages that are public. But yeah, this is the app host, which currently it's a little bit entailed to Azure. And now some people are gonna think that Aspire is mainly used for Azure development or deployment. And that's not the case. The case is that you can use Aspire in any sort of infrastructure. I believe you can even with the Aspire CLI, I think you can make it into a Kubernetes cluster.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I haven't tried. I really want to try and just publish that somewhere and maybe even do it like locally and just host the application in my house or something like that. But that's definitely for another day. Yeah, so this application specifically, it's going to be a little bit entailed towards Azure because I kind of decided to use Azure as my like cloud, just the cloud that I'm going to be using. But you can use AWS, you could use Ocean. I think it was the
DigitalOcean.
Ocean.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe we have a NuGet for that too. So yeah,
Yeah.
here you're gonna see a few things that are a little bit intimidating. This is just setting the infrastructure. But as you can see, the infrastructure is not that hard to read. You're just saying, hey, this is gonna be my production grade infrastructure, and this is gonna be my development grade infrastructure. So in deployment, I want my Postgres to be a flexible server. This is a Azure specific Postgres server that just it has a lot of benefits other than like running a Docker container with the Postgres. So I decided to go for flexible server. But in development, obviously, I'm not gonna run a flexible server in the cloud for just developing. So I decided to run this as a container, as a Postgres container. There's gonna be a little bit of inconsistency. I was trying a new like type of architecture where you create a identity service discovery and then you put the database name and stuff like that. But as you can see here, I'm not using it. I need to update that later on. But so far, what you do is that you give it a logical name to your. These are called resources. So here I'm giving a logical name to my Azure Service Bus. For those who don't know what Azure Service Bus is, it's just a message broker like RabbitMQ or any other message broker that you might be using. Here I'm saying, hey, I want to create another resource for document storage. In Azure, again, this is Azure specific. Probably other providers have different things, or you could create your custom one. But for Azure, there's something called Azure Storage Account, which lets you, store documents. It has a lot of things. You can store tables and stuff, but most of the time, people use it to store documents as a blob container. That's the correct name. And here I'm saying like, hey, I want to run this. How do you say this? The Azure Storage Account. I want to run it, but not in production. Like I am not in production. I don't want to run this in the cloud and just waste resource. I'm just going to run it as an emulator. And it's going to work the same way just by setting these few lines of code. It's going to work the same way in development, but it's going to use an emulator instead, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So this is the Aspire app host, right? So this is like it's like a file that basically describes, when we say models, I think is the word we use a lot on the team, but it really is just defining your app, but in code.
Exactly. Yeah. I
didn't know one file, or do you have like multiple things going on?
Honestly, currently I just have everything in one file. And if you see a little bit of the infrastructure, the thing is that I have a lot of code. If you check my infrastructure, you can check in the libs of each service. So here I have features and then I have the services themselves. So for example, I have an identity service, which is the identity provider identity. But let's say I want to discover this identity provider by another server or the HTTP client or something. I can just go to identity.discovery, and here I'm going to have all the constants of my service.
Wow.
So
you not only have your app host, you have a bunch of NuGet packages you're building to do this kind of stuff yourself, and then the actual app. And this is all a side project?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah. It's a side project. I've been at it for like a month after work, like just whenever I have time. Yeah, I use a lot of like NuGet packages or like CS Proj individually, because in my job we used to be like, we were building microservices before Aspire, and it was a little bit of a pain, and this was like the best way to do it. Then we moved, literally the moment Aspire came out in preview, we were like, yeah, we're moving to that, and we moved to Aspire, and we've been there since day one, and it has made deployment and development so much easier.
That's awesome.
So
So the app host project is really the only thing that Aspire is, right? So the rest of your app, you have these constants that define like the URL and the endpoints and everything. But for those of you who are like totally new to Aspire, all we do is we add this new project, this app host project, and it lets you define things like you were saying. Like you don't want to obviously hit your production flexible Postgres database and spend money when you're just developing and trying. So locally, you can run it as a container, as an emulator, or whatever it is.
Which is
in
the thing,
a document.
in my opinion.
Yeah. So run this app. Show me what this app is.
Okay, I'm gonna run the app. Hopefully it doesn't crash.
That's fine. If it crashes, that's fine. All my apps crash. So
So yeah, the cool thing about this is it's still running. So the cool thing about Aspire 2 is that you can just say, hey, I have an identity provider currently. I want this identity provider to, have access to this database, to this other database. Oh, it opened in the wrong browser.
nope.
So, so yeah, currently we're seeing the dashboard here. Now, you guys are going to see my insights are in production. I'm not running in an emulator. I don't know if there's an emulator for the insights.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that's fine. Like, it's just insights and it's not costing any money. And also, it's just like, I can see it in Azure if I want to see the insights, or if another developer is coding at the same time, I can just see what they're doing, if they have any issues or stuff like that. So I'm gonna give it a little bit of a the hindsight or like the overview of what the project is. The project is basically like a coding platform that's gonna be completely for free, and it's gonna be oriented towards .NET. Maybe we include a little bit of TypeScript in there, but yeah, so far it's just gonna be a coding platform. And the purpose of it, other than just being completely for free, is that I want students to truly see production grade applications and be like, okay, I can do that. Especially when they see it with Aspire, which makes things like 10 times easier. So eventually all of this code is going to be open source, and people are going to be able to see everything, and students are going to be able to just look at the code and be like, oh, this is cool. This is how it works. This is how production grade things work. Also, the cool thing is that I talked to my university, and they agreed to like publish some of their courses completely here for free.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna have a few .NET courses from universities. Just yeah, so people can yeah.
Yeah.
So as you
So
guys
look,
can see,
so just
yeah.
oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, yeah, as you guys can see, there's the console here. You can see a lot of things that's happening. I have a lot of services, but if I wanna like filter by one service, for example, I wanna see what the identity provider is doing. I can check it off here. I can check the database. Currently, databases, I think they don't have logs, or I haven't like added them. But if you want to check the identity API, here you can see the people that are logging in, the people that are logging out, the people that are being authorized, not authorized,
Mhm.
among other things. So that's the console. This one is like just to see things like poof splashed in the console, literally. Then we have my favorite part, or my second favorite part, which is the structure logs. Here you can see the logs in a structurally manner, and you can see what's happening clearly. Like, hey, I just got a get request. Oh, hey, I'm getting a health check, but this is just debug. And you can just check what's happening with your APIs, with your gateway, with even your client application, because currently my client application is a Blazor server that has a spa application in it.
Nice.
Then you have the traces, which traces. It's just here you can check the database queries. Maybe I'll show one later.
Yeah.
So if a database does a query, you can check it here if you want. For example, here you can check the Postgres. I think this was the seeding data, and you can go deep into it and check what query was executed, the connection, among other things. And the metrics is just the dependency metrics, and I haven't used the metrics that much, honestly. So maybe
Yeah.
Maddy can explain a little bit more about them.
Yeah. So what's cool about all of the structured logs and traces and everything is that those are just like what we call open telemetry, which is a standard that exists already for how to pass data between different parts of your application or to like record data. And so since you're using .NET, Aspire gives you a template or a project or whatever you want to call it called service defaults. And all the service defaults are is like turning that stuff on, which means that when you run your app, it automatically populates in the structured logs and the traces and the metrics view. The metrics view are mostly just like cool.
Yeah.
Like I don't most people use it to like try and profile very specific issues, but most people like I would say most people don't really click into the metrics. I would most of the time is spent in the structured logs and the traces. Uh,
Yeah.
and so yeah, if you're using .NET, you get all of this basically just turned on for you with when you right click add Aspire in Visual Studio, or if you do Aspire in the command line is the new command that we're shipping. So yeah, very fun. And so if you
Yeah.
click on one of these local hosts, like for your front end, can you show
I
us?
click on the front end really quickly. And this is the front end.
Ooh, ooh, and that's Blazor?
Yes, of course it is Blazor.
Are you a big fan? That's pretty nice.
Yes, I mean it's just HTML and CSS, so you can do whatever you want. I believe I'm doing a mix between HTML, CSS, and Mod Blazor. So
Okay, cool.
I am using that new. For example, this is rendered by Mod Blazor, but most of the application is just custom HTML and CSS, which is pretty cool. So in this application, we have a few things. Now, this is the MVP of this application. Hopefully later on, I might create a YouTube channel, or we might just give more updates on this application. But for now, it's just the MVP. And as you can see, you can go to resources. Here you're going to see all the resources of .NET in itself. Here's the C# Discord, the Stack Overflow, the Stack Overflow.net. This is the C# one. Reddit, GitHub, .NET community. And here's all the IDEs and tools. You can also go to the package managers. That it's basically just NuGet.
Yep.
Yeah. Here are like not custom, like just other people like Nick or other people that just give like .NET content that are not exactly from Microsoft, but they just give exclusively .NET content. And here there's also more video resources. These are all YouTube ones. And these are like the conference that Microsoft is having eventually, like right now and stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, this is like a static page. It's just all the resources that Microsoft has for .NET. So that's the resources application, like the page. Then you have the homepage, which so far it's just very simple, like just, welcome to .NET. You're gonna master, and this is for a .NET place. As you can see, this is C#. That a lot of people are gonna be like, that's C#. Like it doesn't look like it.
Right?
Yeah, they're gonna be like, where's your public static void main, like, and all of that. And C# has grown so much over the years that it just looks like this now. This is an API, like a to-do API. So yeah. And then we can check the login page, or actually we're gonna check the courses page. Hopefully it works. As you can see here, we have an introduction to C#. So far we don't have a logo for it. That's why it just goes like this. And this one has a logo for it. It's just a SPE that was randomly generated on the background. But yeah, you can check courses, you can start learning. But the cool thing about this application is that right now I have let me check if I can find it. It's a GitHub URL. Let me see if I enabled it here. I don't think I did. But essentially, the cool thing about this project is that when you're a professor and you're creating a course, so let's say you want to create a course for, I don't know, introduction to programming, you can just create a GitHub repo, and that GitHub repo, you link it here. You say, hey, this is going to be my GitHub repo for logic of programming. And then my application, what it does is that every hour it fetches that GitHub repo, it reads the whole GitHub repo, and it creates the course automatically. So currently I'm going to show a completely different project. Like this is a project, it's literally a hello world. And this hello world has a lessons like .md. See, you can see the whole lessons. All of these lessons are the ones that are populating that other application. So, and here's the profile.csvg. So right now my application is just checking a GitHub repo that is completely separate from this and creating a course. Why is this the design pattern, or like the design that we decided to use for this? It's because I want professors to just focus on coding and focus on creating good lessons, and then my platform just creates those courses for them, and they don't need to worry about the platform in itself. They just go do their own thing. They push their changes, they create their lessons somewhere else, and then they can import them here. So as you can see, there's even interactivity. I gave the professors a set of components they can use in their markdowns, and there's interactivity. People can check their answers, they can try again, and if I click the right one this time, see, it works. So there's interactivity. They can do whatever they want with the markdown file, among other things. So yeah, that's pretty much the courses part. The courses part, of course, is gonna get better with time as people, go and create more courses, they view more courses, among other things. And the cool part about this is that it's completely for free. And the code is also going to be completely open source, because I really want students to just be able to look at the code, deal with the code, see the code, like just, oh, like this is how it works. This website that I'm using all the time, like, works this way, and I can just check it. Or if they want a specific feature, they can probably open an issue. I don't know if we're going to do that, but so far I want to do that. So yeah, that's the courses part.
So if we go back into your app, into your dashboard here,
Yep.
show me like what this is looking like in the logs and everything.
Right. So
You
for
hit the
example,
database or anything yet?
yes. So currently, when I started the application, this course wasn't created. This got created completely in when the application got ran. So if I go to my import worker, which is the import worker is something that runs every hour to check, hey, do I need to import this application from GitHub? Like this course, sorry. So if we go here, we can check all of the logs that this just did. Currently, what it did, it's basically like, hey, I'm gonna run and check. Oh, like I have a GitHub URL that I need to check. Let me check it. Okay, that doesn't exist. Let me just skip it. And then it went to mine, which is this one. And I wanted to show you guys that the lessons here. So if we go to the first lesson, for example, as you can see, this is a markdown introduction to logical programming, blah, blah, blah. If we go here and we go to the first lesson, it goes to introduction to logical programming. See, it's getting populated out of this basically. So yeah, in the import worker, we can see that all of that is happening. And basically at runtime, we can see that, hey, this just did an HTTP request to GitHub. It didn't find one because this was the other one that doesn't exist. I believe here, yep, here it does the HTTP request. It goes like, hey, I found one. Let me just parse it. It parsed the course. It goes like, hey, I need to parse all of these lessons. Here it goes and parse the lesson. And it just kept going and keeps going. And it parsed all the lessons like as it should.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then
Right. So
the
show me
import.
this is a structured logs viewer because that's way better looking than the console log.
Yes. Yeah, I am very used to just looking at the console log. I don't know why. But
Yeah.
here's
Well,
the
we're used
yeah.
to that because that's what we've only had, right? So now that we have this band,
Yeah.
it's like, wait a second.
Yeah, whenever I see the structure, what I feel like out of place, it's better, it's prettier, it's way more intuitive, and I feel out of place. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yep.
But here you can see the cool thing about the structure log is that it has filtering. So if I want to check all the debug traces, I can check them. I don't know why it didn't filter them. I think I need to hit the filter. Yes. No. That's fun. Okay, so that's not. Yeah, that's interesting. Anyways,
Yep.
okay, now it's working.
Oh, that one worked.
That one worked. The debug one doesn't work though.
Wow. Today we find a bus. So this is like a classic Aspire. We do a stream
Yeah.
Fridays that I know you've tuned into, but for the folks watching
Yes.
at home, we do these Friday streams that are called Aspire Fridays. And we literally have a bingo board where one of the things on the bingo board, like if you're watching the stream, you check it off. One of the things is literally found a bug in Aspire, and that happens every week. So if that is on your board, that is totally fair. But Aspire is only like a year and a half old, and we've been rapidly changing and, like, adapting, which you guys have done a really good job keeping up with, like, both your company and your side project, but
Yes.
it's kinda crazy because every release we do something new. People have to figure it out, so
Yeah, the thing is that sometimes the model changes since we were in preview, like preview Aspire or like when it first came out, the model has changed a lot, especially for Azure. So
yeah,
a lot of the time what happened is that yeah, we would be like, oh, let me update to Aspire, the new Aspire, and boom, production it doesn't crash obviously, but production just doesn't deploy and we're like, okay, what's happening now? And we need to check what's happening but it's been fun. Honestly, it's
yeah,
been a really fun journey, and it has made production way easier.
cool.
Especially for our CI/CD pipelines. They've become really, really good to the point where we use .NET affected to check what services were affected, and we deploy the services that were affected. So, for example, if I change a piece of code in the let's say the courses API, only the courses API is gonna get redeployed.
Yeah,
Same with the currently we have a migrations worker that
yeah,
checks the database migrations, and anytime the database migrations get affected, that worker in itself gets deployed and it migrates the database automatically in production,
yeah.
which is pretty cool. And I don't think we would have done it without Aspire.
No, that's amazing. So, how do you, now I'm gonna get nerdy. So show me your app host again
Yeah,
in VS.
the app host is here. Yeah.
Yeah, and show me where those migrations are. Like, do you do that in the app host at all, or do you
No, I'm not doing that in this project. We do that at work. The migrations here just happen
Oh, okay,
in
sorry, yeah.
yeah. No, the migrations here, we just have a seeder. This
Oh, nice,
feeds the
okay.
yeah, we have like this seeds the development data. And what this does is that it runs like every 30 minutes and migrates, checks if it needs migrations, and if it does, it just migrates.
Wow. So this is a very
Yeah,
common database problem, right? Is like when you're running in prod, you have to make sure that the database, if you update it or you update the schema or something, that everything stays in place. And when you're running locally, you need to make sure that you have test data to work with. And you don't want to have to like manually seed a bunch of data every time. And so databases are a whole month long stream. One day you'll have a course on your site for it, I'm sure.
hopefully.
But Aspire can help you a lot, either with what you're doing here, which is doing it manually in the project, or wiring it through the app host. Like, you have the project as a seeder, which is no
Yeah.
as a resource in the app host, which is super cool.
This one works. Like it works. It runs every 30 minutes. But yeah, definitely I want to copy the way we did it at work because it literally uses .NET affected and it goes like, hey, migrations got changed for the identity API. Let me just rerun this thing in like production and just
Yeah.
migrate the database, and it works beautifully.
So do you have this app deployed yet?
I do have it, I believe. It was I can check
Yeah. Check it.
because the issue, yeah, I do have it deployed. The issue is that, which I haven't fixed it, is that currently I'm setting my client application. It's being set as a container application.
Mhm.
And the issue with container applications is that they change URL like every so often. So if they turn off, they turn on and stuff like that. If they need to like scale up or scale down, it creates more applications as they need to scale. And the issue is that my DNS right now, or like my domain, it's pointing to the old application that
Yep.
used to be alive, but it's no longer doing that because it's no longer alive. So it is deployed. I just don't know the
That is
the URL
okay.
for it.
Hopefully, at some point we can, when you, like, redirect when you update your DNS stuff, we can put something in the video description too so that people can come and look at the site, like, just as an example. Um,
Yeah, for sure. The thing is,
yeah.
I
You
believe you
deploy
can
with
create a.
Aspire?
I did deploy with Aspire. Yes.
Wow. So show all the folks at home how that works, I guess, if you wanna.
So honestly, the deploy with Aspire for me initially it was very simple. You just create the. I'm gonna go here with my terminal really quickly.
Okay.
I don't know why it doesn't work on the Visual Studio terminal.
Oh,
So
interesting.
here,
Yep.
yeah, I think just Visual Studio terminal has a lot of issues. But initially, uh, you just do ACDC, right? ACD,
Mhm.
and then you do init, and that's basically it. As you guys can see, I've initialized this, and if you want to deploy your application, you just ACDC up,
Yep.
and that's it. That's pretty much gonna deploy the application, and it's gonna create, for example, for Azure, which uses biceps to communicate with Azure. It creates the biceps in the background, and then it just deploys those biceps. Now, when you have really complicated infrastructure, you might need to create some manual biceps. But most of the time, like 90% of the time so far, we've literally just used that Spire for deployment. So what ACDC up does, I believe, is that it reads all of this and it goes like, okay, let me just create the biceps for all of this. And it creates the biceps obviously for production. So it's not going to run my Postgres as a container. It's going to run it as a flexible server, among other things. So ACD up, what it does is that it pushes your application. It's going to ask you for a few things like, hey, where do you want to push it? How, with what subscription, and among other things. But the cool thing, and something that I love about Aspire and ACD Up, is that it also creates a markdown that it tells you like the next steps. If you want to make your GitHub like have a GitHub action that pushes Aspire every single time you push changes. So currently, this was created by the Aspire command. They provide a command for it, and it creates the CI/CD pipelines for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not deployment. It's like way easier than deploying even a monolith at times. And the cool thing is that you can have so many microservices. You can have a front end, a back end, a database, another database, and this is just gonna deploy like that magically. Here I got an issue, but currently it's because I'm running the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the application currently is running, but a cool tip for you guys is that if the application, I don't know how the .NET developers did this, but I love it, is that when it gives you this error that the application is already running in the background, that means that it's gonna succeed if you stop running the application. This is like the last error you would ever get. So yeah, deployment is extremely easy. If you guys do this like ACD up, ACD init, and then ACD up, it's just gonna work. I promise. And yeah.
Yeah. And so what we're building now is a new version of this from the Aspire command line. And so have you used the Aspire command line at all?
I have not.
You wanna do it live? You wanna try it live?
Sure. I don't think I have it downloaded though.
That's okay. I can give you the command. It's actually
Oh,
not too difficult. And so,
okay.
let me copy paste you a link. So, where's the link I want? So Aspire has a command line. So if you're in VS Code and you're not in Visual Studio, which is what you've been showing, there are a ton of ways to use Aspire. We have an extension pre-release now too, but the standard way will be to use the command line. And so what I can give you is the command. Are you in PowerShell? I imagine you're in PowerShell, right?
Yeah, CMD.
Okay. So, oh, you're in CMD. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I can open PowerShell though.
Oh, PowerShell. And what I'll do is I'll send it on the Discord, and hopefully that works.
Perfect.
Got it?
Yeah, that's such a
Sweet.
weird command.
Yeah, it's a PowerShell command. So when you copy paste it, I can show people like basically with PowerShell, there's instead of curl, which is what you would use with like bash on a Mac, there's also a
Yeah.
command invoke expression and then invoke rest method, and that's how you do it.
Okay.
And so let me know when this works. You can pop your terminal back on the screen.
Yeah,
Cool.
it downloaded already. My bad.
That
I didn't show it.
that's pretty cool. So
Yeah. So
if
if I
you do
do
Aspire, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Let me check if it runs on the other one.
yeah.
So if I do Aspire, oh yeah, I need to restart it like that.
Yeah, you probably need to restart the terminal, so you're gonna have the CD back into where you were.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just go here.
Yep.
Whoa.
Oh, yep, there you go.
Aspire. Ooh, that's cool.
Okay, so you should be able to just Aspire run.
Let me stop the
Oh,
application
yeah,
really
right, yep.
quickly.
Yep.
Aspire run. And let's see. It's gonna just check for the app host.
Yep.
It got the app
So
host.
this
Which is yeah.
thank God.
No, sorry.
No,
Yeah.
and so what it does is it kind of ignores the solution file, right? So it says even if you're not in VS, you can, um, you know, use the Aspire CLI. If you don't have a solution, you're using SLNX, I saw, so very fancy. You're up to date with that, which is very good. That's the
Yeah.
solution file. And then this should be the same link that it was before, but you can control-click on this for good measure if you want, and the dashboard link it gives you.
And appears here. Oh.
So there you go. The exact same. We just started everything.
Yeah, is there a way to attach the debugger to this?
So if you're in VS Code, yes. Otherwise, you just do it the way that you have been doing it in VS. The VS Code extension
Right.
has debugger attached for both .NET and Python. By the way, I mean I know you're a .NET
Really?
completionist, but yes, it can run both the .NET and Python debuggers at the same time now, which is pretty awesome.
Well, the whole vaccination department basically works on Python, and we're trying to integrate them to Aspire. So
we should talk about that then.
yeah, we can talk about it, and I think it's a little bit more open to the public because yeah. So yeah, the vaccination department handles all the vaccinations in the country, which is insane.
That's really cool. So if you
Yes.
want to see, so you were talking about how AZD and Aspire, they give you these bicep assets, right?
Yeah.
If you want to see what those look like before you deploy, you can run Aspire Publish. And that actually
Oh,
creates all those assets without actually deploying them yet. So if you Control C and then Aspire Publish, we can actually take a peek at that.
okay. What I find it interesting is that currently this project, as you can see, it has a lot of folders and stuff like that. These are the physical folders, by the way. So I'm really glad that the Aspire command line was able to find the app host, because it's like inside apps currently, which I
It's
love that.
it's somehow very smart. We messed it up quite a few times.
Okay,
You're
well, that's fine.
That's not fun. That's
If it works, it's fine. Just not.
Oh, um, it do an LS or a dir.
Let's there. Yes.
Yeah, whichever is the right one. Aspire output. Go into that Aspire output folder and see if there's anything in there. There might not be because we didn't actually add a container app environment to it, so it doesn't even know what it's supposed to be deploying. But
Right.
yeah.
So, and here they're
The
like,
yeah. Oh
okay.
my gosh. It totally
Created
did
them.
work. What?
Yep.
So now you can see all the bicep that AZD or Aspire works the same, right? Because they're both the same tools. You can actually see those files and take a look at what Aspire is turning into a manifest.
Yeah, what I'm gonna do is then I'm gonna pull up the actual folder here so people can see it better. So okay, as far as your output, yeah, and all the biceps are here.
Yep.
So if you wanna like check I'm gonna open a notebook just so we don't get issues. Wait, it's a good idea. I'll pull it up in a second. Okay, so this is the biceps, which is really cool that you can see all the biceps that are being created for your deployment. It's almost like magic the way this works, though.
Yeah.
So
And imagine having to type this all by hand. Like, no, thank you.
yeah, yeah. By and the bicep language is really interesting the way it works. So yeah, typing it by hand would not be ideal or fun. But this is so cool. The way you can just see how everything's being generated. And I imagine if you change the like where you're deploying, so if you don't choose Azure, you probably just choose like AWS, it would use their language, I imagine.
Yes. Exactly.
That's
Exactly. So yeah, there's an AWS plugin, there's the DigitalOcean plugin, like you mentioned too. I think that one's still in development, but there's like it'll use the AWS CDK or DigitalOcean has like an intermediate language. So you can publish to those kind of intermediate languages to see. So especially for your own side project, you can just kind of do whatever CI/CD you're comfortable with. But for a company, you have to make sure that the assets that you're deploying are good. And people usually want to see them before you deploy it. And so this is one of the ways you can do that with the Aspire command line. So
that's really cool.
yeah. Another amazing feature of the Aspire command line is update. And so in your dashboard, it says you haven't gone to 952 yet. So we could try, it might break everything. Try an Aspire update.
Okay,
See what happens. Go to stable, go to stable. I wonder
if it updates, I'm gonna be so happy if this works.
Me too. It doesn't do community toolkit packages yet, and so the community toolkit is something it's a repo where we put packages that are Aspire integration, so that like add Postgres, add Azure Postgres, add Azure Storage or whatever, but we put ones that are built by the community and maintained by the community into one like sanctioned place. So we use that for a lot of like less popular things, or things that aren't really done yet. So, oh, interesting. I mean, sure, you can put your NuGet config wherever you want, I guess. But
I don't think it should change the Aspire output, no?
yeah, you can just do .. That should be able to do the relative paths. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Wait, it worked.
If you Aspire realm, what happens? You're a 9.3? Oh,
I was a little bit behind.
that is okay. I get it.
I was a little bit behind, but yeah, I don't remember the last time whoa.
Oh, okay. That's fine. That's fine. Whoa, workload. What? Cannot create a file when the file already exists.
Yep.
Package downgrade. Okay, so this is saying that you have some related NuGet packages that are need to be upgraded too. So you have to poke through and fix those, that's okay. I think if
Yeah.
you right click and do like the fancy solution explorer way of doing it, it might be better. But for the whole
Like,
solution, you might be able to do
oh, and then
um
you get
manage NuGet packages.
yeah. I'm using centralized NuGet packages. I don't know if that
Nice.
yeah
Yeah.
messes up.
No, that should totally work fine. But
Okay,
go into updates and see. Yeah.
let's try.
Just update them all. Why not? What's the worst that happens? Everything breaks.
Everything breaks. Yeah,
Fine. No big deal.
that's completely fine. It's just
Yeah.
the ones that kind of break stuff is Mud Blazor. Sometimes they release things that break everything completely, and it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah. It happens. That's bad.
it happens. Yeah, they should break stuff. And
All
we
right.
got errors.
Now is your downgrades. Okay. So
Oh wait, now I need to.
update these ones, maybe?
Oh, I have include pre-release.
Oh, that wouldn't help. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
loading.
yeah. This is especially very slow sometimes.
That is okay. That's what happens. Have you used the new Visual Studio 2026 yet?
I did, and I like it, but it has some issues.
Oh,
That
yeah.
you can, yeah,
Yeah.
especially Blazor. Blazor,
Yeah.
you cannot run Blazor applications.
Yeah. It's getting a lot better. So when the week of .NET Conf, all these things will be fixed. So
That's good.
peek behind the curtain, everybody. This is just slightly ahead of .NET Conf that we're recording this.
Yeah,
So
the cool thing is that at least at my work, we have a setup that lets people, how do you say this, integrate to the teams extremely fast because we use code spaces. And for those who don't know what code spaces is, yeah. So if you see like anyone like complaining about code spaces, probably is part of us. Uh, but code spaces basically are like a dev box that GitHub has that you can run your code in a cloud, basically. The cool thing about this is that when you run the code space, I don't think it's gonna work.
yeah, that's okay.
Uh,
There's too many package conflicts. What
yeah,
we could do is go into your ignore that. If you go into your central package management, we could go and update those manually, but we don't have to. It's gonna be too much work.
uh,
So I would just roll back to your last working Git commit,
yeah, that
which
works.
is why we use Git.
This is why we use Git.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you don't have
imagine having to do that.
oh,
Yeah, I deleted the devices by mistake. It's fine.
that's fine. And then this should work just fine. But that is a quick and easy way to update. So once you start resolving your package dependencies, that's
Yeah, the issue is that I have like 50 packages just there
yeah.
waiting for updating.
Yeah, that happens. That happens. Sometimes it's worth just like every month or so, I go through and I like to update all my NuGet packages.
That's valid.
And
I don't think this project has been out for a month though.
yeah,
I,
that's
so yeah. So, but yeah, the cool thing about like at work is that we have code spaces and we can just F5 and everything just runs.
yeah. That's
And you don't need anything. Yes, it is very cool. And you only need Visual Studio Code. That's it.
yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And once you have the Aspire extension, you can get all your Python people hooked in too. So
Yes, we want to move those. Yeah, we want to move those people. I really wanted to present like one of the projects from work, but there has to be a lot of paperwork, which is the one that you like, which is biostatistics,
yeah.
which shows all the statistics of the country. And the cool thing is that in the background, it pushes data. I mean, it pulls data from a lot of different places,
Yep.
from like databases and stuff like that.
Yep. Sweet.
So yeah,
All
currently,
right.
yeah, this is not, the project looks complicated. It's not a lot. It's just an identity provider, a cost provider, which Aspire kind of shows you really easily. Like,
Yeah.
so here you can see everything that's just running. Like, hey, this is my message broker just running here. Or, hey, this is my document storage just running locally. Or you can see that I have a courses API, Cedar. I believe you can group them together and they can be like in the same category and you can filter them better.
Yeah.
I believe you can.
Yeah. You can make
But
them like children of each other or something, like parent them. But
exactly. I
yeah,
don't know how to do that yet, though.
that's okay. You'll get there.
I'll get there.
You're too busy writing code. I mean, really.
Yeah, yeah. But it's really cool. And it's like honestly, at this point, a lot of people think that Aspire is just for building microservices. Generally, even at this point, I think I would even write a monolith using Aspire, just because you can say like, hey, I want to have this database, I want to have this cache, I want to have this document storage, and I want to have this. And it basically entails your infrastructure as code, and you can just plug and play as you go, as you see fit. Like, oh, I need to downgrade my database. So right now, if I want to downgrade my database because I have too many gigabytes in the database, I can just lower this number here.
Yeah.
And whenever it
Great.
publishes, yeah, it's just gonna magically lower. I don't need to enter Azure or anything like that.
Yeah.
The only thing that I need to fix is that the domain name is like pointing to my client application, and my client application is constantly changing the URL. What people do to fix that is like they create a reverse proxy that
Mm.
handles the targeting towards the application itself. I believe Azure has something for that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a little bit of my show and tell. The logging words. Yeah, so if you want to log in, yeah,
Oh, wow. All right.
I think you can log in.
Working auths? I could never.
Yeah, it's working off. You can go to my account, you can edit the profile, you can change the password, you can check your permissions. You can even create courses. So for example, if I want to create a course, I am admin, so I can create courses. Here I can just like type and type and type, and I can, create. So yeah, and the cool thing is that my application is only calling a gateway, and that gateway is calling the services. But the cool thing is that Aspire handles all of it. So
Yeah.
currently my API, my identity API, which is handling the auth and all of that. I am not saying, hey, I want to send a HTTP request to localhost 5,000. I am just using the conventional name, which is the service name here.
Mhm.
And then whenever I want to send an HTTP request to this HTTP client, I mean
Mhm.
to this server, I just use this conventional name. That's why I separate this to like its own NuGet package, because my HTTP clients, for example, my identity client, it just
Mhm.
uses that. So see, here has identity service discovery, service name, and here has the path. And you can see the path of the login. So if I ever change this path, I don't need to change the HTTP client. And who handles all of that? Well, Aspire.
That's so cool. I love it.
It is.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're gonna switch back to my screen to wrap this up because I wanna share
Yeah.
just a few links for those of you who wanna get started with Aspire. Um, so first of all, the Aspire Discord, if you wanna talk to Andres, he's in there, and so if you wanna ask him, pick his brain about all of the stuff he works on and learn all about Blazor, that's a great place to do it.
Yeah.
Uh, and then Aspire is also on all the socials. Oh my goodness. And so you can find us at aspire.dev, whether that's spelled out or actually as the URL. Um, there is a new website, aspire.dev, the website that's out. So you can go and
It's
look at
amazing.
that. And then, like I said, we do a stream most Fridays. We do them, and then we have a bunch of other content coming up for learning Aspire, etc. And so, definitely let us know. Join the Discord. Let us know what you think about Aspire. If you want to get involved in helping out, if you want to use Andres's app, so I know I do. I would love to learn some more about .NET. And enjoy .NET Conf this week. It's going to be so much fun. We have Aspire in the keynote. We have a bunch of Aspire sessions. There's plenty of ways to get Aspirified this week. So super looking forward to all of it. And Andres, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Of
This has
course.
been
Thank you for the invitation.
super cool. Like, what an awesome way to do this, to like use Aspire, especially considering you have a full-time job and you also are a full-time student. So congratulations on all of that.
Thank you.